Good evening, Xolani. Thanks for your time tonight. Is Robert McBride right? Are there too many people who would need to be let go of should the president decide to fire Nene on the fact that he engaged with the Guptas, but as we heard from McBride, didn't necessarily do anything wrong?
I think Robert McBride is providing us with what you call it an alternative fact or alternative truth or alternative moral and ethics in our society, of which in an essence I will not simply embrace his alternative when it comes to Nene. Because if you understand, we as South Africans, we put so much trust to the man. He was the saint of our political space in South Africa, but the way he led us to untrustworthy spaces, I think he deserved just to be an honorable person as we perceive that he is, by simple pushing our president to say, can he be excused from such honorable office that is occupying at the moment.
But is there not an argument to be made that perhaps the reason why Nene lied about his meetings with the Guptas from the onset was precisely because of the kind of reaction that South Africans would have to it, that he was seen as one of the good guys who almost pushed back against the project of state capture, and that from the onset, perhaps South Africans would not really understand that in the world of politics, things are a bit more complicated than, the narratives we want to reduce them to.
I think your statement or your question is already, there is an irony, a good guy who is capable to lie. I think that simply nullify him as a good guy. And so I think what he was supposed to do to the South Africans, he was supposed to come clean from the onset. The man is a lay preacher, bear in mind. And so I think he was supposed to go to that comfort of being a lay preacher and tell the truth and face the consequences of his action. And I think, Kathy, another thing that you are seeing in South Africa are those people that we regard as the torchbearers of our morality and ethics. It seems now they are factionalizing what is true and what is not. There are those whom they think that they are honorable to lie to us, ordinary people, and those who are not supposed to lie to us. If they lie, they must vacate their office. I think we are, in a way, has fallen to what Frantz Fanon called it the pitfalls of national consciousness. And so South Africa is supposed to write ordinary people and say, we can't be led by such kind of people who would wing us to their own alternative facts and their own alternative truth, morality, and ethics.
Is the expectation and the bar that has been set, is it realistic? Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with human beings. On a day-to-day, some people at least will tell little white lies, as they call it, and make nothing of it. So we are expecting that the same people who are perhaps human are suddenly, put on a pedestal where they are almost godlike when they assume office. And does this Nene situation not dismantle that?
I think the dilemma is with our media and those who come from so-called elite civil society movement, who construct saints in our political space, and then they impose these political saints to us. Unfortunately, these political saints, they are always feet of clay. And then when they fall, just like Ozymandias, and then they want to come back and try to psychologically indoctrinate us and say, no, this person, he told the truth, but he just had a fib, meaning that it was an innocent lie. There is no innocent lie. Lie is just a pure lie. And another thing that worries me a lot is that we've created Mcebisi Jonase as one of the colossal saints in our country. But my main worry is when Fana Hlongwane and the others, if they volunteer and go to the so-called Zondo's Commission, and then when they start to unveil the veil that Mcebisi is wearing, what are we going to say? Are we going to say also Mcebisi, he told us an innocent, a white lie? I think we as South African, really, the route that we are taking is an unacceptable one, especially to the young people, because these politicians are supposed to serve as moral role models to our youngsters. And so if our youngsters, they are planted with doubts on who is a saint and who is not a saint, at the end of the day, our country will be ruled by the evils.
And certainly, I think it points to a bigger leadership crisis that we're facing, because it might be state capture within Nene, but certainly there are other issues that also have indicted several ministers who occupy office. And the same yardstick needs also to be used across the board in all instances. So state capture cannot be the exception for holding people accountable. Political analyst Xolani Dube from the Xubera Institute for Research and Development. Well,